Hello everyone, it's pretty windy here. My name is Matt, I'm the group coordinator at CES Edinburgh, and although I work in Edinburgh, I live here in Glasgow and I want to take you for a tour, so come with me. Alright, so long story short, Glasgow was founded in the 6th century by a monk or a Christian missionary. He was called St. Mingo, and he decided, when he came here, he decided to establish a church where the cathedral now stands. So this is where we're going to begin the tour. Built before the Reformation, from the 12th century onwards, the Cathedral of Glasgow is a superb example of Scottish Gothic architecture. And what makes Glasgow Cathedral special is that it is the oldest cathedral in mainland Scotland to have survived Reformation in the 16th century. Of course, the cathedral you can see now is not the one that was built in the 12th century. It's the result of different phases of construction, and not everything survived till today. For example, in the 19th century, the two front towers were put down as a result of a lack of maintenance because they were sadly falling apart. Now that you know a little bit more about the early history of Glasgow, I'm going to take you to the bank of the River Clyde to learn a little bit more about what made Glasgow the city it is today. But first, I'm going to grab my bike and I'll meet you there. We're just in front of the Province Lordship House, which is known here as the Old House because it's the oldest house in Glasgow. It was built in 1471 by the bishop, who lived just in front of it in the Bishop Palace. Very nice. On the way to the River Clyde, you might want to pass by the Trongate area. Trongate here is one of the oldest streets in Glasgow and used to be at the center of the medieval town. Doesn't look so old right now, doesn't look too medieval. That's because most of it burned during a fire in the 17th century. It really is a beautiful street with very weird statues sometimes, like this one. But let's continue to the River Clyde.
Oh, I wish I was in Glasgow with some good old friends of mine, some good old rough companions, and some good old smooth red wine. We could talk about the old days and the old town's sad decline, and drink to the boys on the road. Oh, I was born in Glasgow, near the centre of the town. I would take you there and show you, but they've pulled the building down. And when I think about it, it always makes me frown. They bulldozed it all to make a road. And that great old place I miss so much has seen much better days, and still we talk about it as we go our separate ways. Oh, but Glasgow gave me more than it ever took away, and prepared me for life on the road.
Alright. Also, Glasgow history began as a religious centre, developing around its cathedral in High Street. The River Clyde behind me is the real reason of Glasgow's success. When Scotland became part of the UK in 1707 with the Act of Union, it was a real opportunity for Glasgow to access the vast market of the British Empire. By the end of the 18th century, the city became a hub of international trade to and from the Americas. Cotton, sugar and tobacco trade flourished. By 1760, Glasgow had a stripped London as the main port for tobacco. in the United Kingdom. So everything was going pretty well for Glasgow. But the American War of Independence put an end to the American trade, and this led to financial disaster for most of the merchants. Although a group of tobacco lords were wealthy enough to invest in other trade like textile or other activities like shipbuilding, Glasgow was then one of the largest cities in the world and one of the richest. It became known as the second city of the empire, just after London. Shipbuilding remained one of the main activities of the city well into the 1960s. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the first part of the video. If you want to know more about Glasgow, come back next week. We'll have another video ready for you guys. And we'll go back to the city center, to George Square, and we'll make a few stops on the way as well. Alright, see you next week. Bye!
Oh, I wish I was in Glasgow with some good old friends of mine, some good old rough companions, and some good old smooth red wine. We could talk about